Hello, patrons. This is Cyber Saloon. So today we're going to be going over ReZero Season 2, Episode 16. White Fox has been on a roll. They did a great job with the first half of Season 2, and they're also doing an exceptional job with the season as well. I wasn't... The first episode of this season was a little bit slow, but the last two have been exceptional, especially the last one. Again, the voice actors for both Amelia and Subaru did a great job in the last episode. In this episode, Garfiel's voice actor does a great job too. And this episode actually did something I didn't even think was possible. It actually made me really like Garfield. I've been having kind of issues with him just from the first quarter. Like he just came off as kind of like an angry kind of asshole. So like I never really got into him, and so. But you kind of start to see it at the beginning of like towards the end of the first quarter, and definitely with this episode, like he's actually a good person deep down. So in this episode made me like actually like him a lot, and I'm really excited to see like the brotherly kind of relationship that him and Subaru kind of end up having. The writer does a good job of doing this, and the show does a good job at showing this. Like all the characters that Subaru, sometimes like. That ends up having like but ends up having like issues with, and they don't get along, like Julius, like from the first season. Whenever they end up like working together and becoming friends, it's actually kind of like a cool friendship they end up having, because Julius and like Subaru are like good friends. Reinhardt and Subaru are really good friends, and honestly, I like the kind of like again the brotherly relationship that like Subaru and Garfield are going to end up having. So we pick up the last episode where Subaru and Amelia had their great moment where they ended up kissing each other, and we find out later that Garfield, I guess, kind of saw that. Subaru kind of puts on a funny face when he finds out that Garfield kind of saw him, but he's out there waiting in front of the temple, like wanting to stop them. He wants to destroy the entire entrance. Subaru, of course, gets kind of concerned at first. He wanted to make sure that... because like Garfield's kind of like bloodied up a little bit, and of course like he wants to make sure that Otto isn't dead, because he asks like, did you kill them? Because like Garfield goes on a spiel about, you know, like how annoying Otto was, and he didn't think he had it in him. And he was also really annoyed that Ram ended up helping him as well. And I randomly thought about this when I was watching it. I'm like, can you imagine if like what would Subaru do if Garfield said, yeah, I killed them? I don't think he'd ever kill Ram, and we'll discuss that later. But if he had killed Otto, like, his whole thing with Amelia, he would have to do it again. That kind of has to suck. That kind of went through my head. It's just like, if anything goes wrong, like, everything you just did just, like, kind of has to go out the window, and you have to do it again. So, thankfully, he didn't kill them, though. So he starts talking about how he wants to destroy Sanctuary. And Amelia actually is the first one to kind of call him out on his bullshit. Like, she's like, oh, like, what are you scared of? And she kind of, in a way, like, kind of does the whole, like, Goodwill Hunting kind of thing, where it's like, oh, like, it's not your fault. Like, I overcame all my problems. And, of course, like, starts to have a little bit of effect in Garfield initially. You notice how he's like, tells her to shut up, like, don't go there. I'm just like, this reminds me of Goodwill Hunting. And then, so Subaru notices that she's starting to get to him, and it didn't explicitly say it, but it's pretty obvious that ReZero kind of gave him Garfield's whole entire backstory, and I imagine Frederica probably told him a little bit as well. So Subaru isn't as gracious as Amelia was. Like Amelia was trying to do it in like the really nice way. Like, look, like, you've gone through all this stuff. I've gone through all this stuff. Like, you can overcome your problems. What are you so angry about? Subaru just straight up calls him a bitch, basically. Like, you know, he just starts like just destroying him, like, mentally, like psychoanalyzes him and just breaks him down. Like, he just starts stating all of his problems, like, you know, you were abandoned by your mother, like, you know, like just tearing him down completely. Like, and you see a moment where like Garfield's just kind of shook as he starts backing down from the stairs, and like as Subaru's like walking towards him. And I'm just like, dude, Subaru can be a savage, like, when he wants to. Like, he's well spoken enough to where he can kind of destroy people mentally if he has to. And so, like, he's starting to get to Garfield, and this Garfield actually like mentally breaks down. That like he was because Subaru thinks that he hates his mom for leaving them there for like Frederica and Garfield. He doesn't actually hate his mom. He wanted to hate her, but he can't. because he views it as like, oh, like he just wanted his mom to have like a happy life, and like he always thought that him and Frederica were like this baggage his mom was leaving behind, when that obviously that's not the case, but that's how he kind of views it. And then but his reason for wanting to take down Sanctuary is kind of weak in my opinion. It doesn't really hold up for me. But again, that's nothing against Garfield's character. I just think this part of the writing for this character it's a little bit weak on this front. And let me explain. Again, before I say anything, like, his voice actor did a really good job, like when he's talking about his mental breakdown. So the whole reason he kind of wants Sanctuary destroyed is so he's basically afraid of change, and it's like that could work as a reason, but it's not really explored enough, because he kind of goes off. It's like he doesn't want anyone else to get hurt, because he doesn't want anyone else to basically venture out into the world and like possibly get hurt. Like it comes down to he's basically afraid of change and what will happen if you free Sanctuary, but it's not really focused on enough in my opinion. And he views it, but for those like who could defend, he basically thinks that like he's like the defense from the outside world. I guess you could spin it that way. That's not how I kind of took it, but like when he starts saying like he's a barrier for like ReZero and like all these other people that he views himself as responsible for to protect, that's kind of how he kind of views it. Is if this barrier goes down, like he doesn't want anyone else to like kind of venture out and like or the possibility of them getting hurt from the outside world. But of course Subaru tries to explain that like you need strength in numbers, like you can't do all this stuff by yourself, and not to mention that Subaru's the only one who knows, well Roswell knows too, but Subaru is the only knows that within a couple of days the Great Rabbit's going to be there, and like he basically tries to, you can't just stay here. That doesn't mean you're not going to have any problems, because you're about to have a big damn problem when the Great Rabbit ends up showing up to make everyone there Happy Meal. So in Subaru tries to explain, like reemphasize that like there's strength in numbers. You can't you can't be afraid of change all the time. You have to like try to change yourself basically. Garfield ends up turning into his beast form. And then I love Subaru's line here where he's just like, I'm going to make you realize, because it's like Garfield had given his speech. I'm like, I'm not going to let, anyone here get hurt. And he ends up transforming into his beast mode. And then Subaru like kind of puts a line at him that I'm going to make you realize that you're a big, dumb, sweet idiot. And I thought that line was it was very Subaru. And I also I kind of laughed at it when he said it too. Subaru like runs up to him with his with his ninja moves, and ends up basically stabbing him with Frederica's like little crystal thing, and it basically like drains all the energy out of him. But I guess Puck was in it or had something to do with it. It was really weird. They never went over this much, but Puck helped him, or I guess was in the I don't know. It wasn't really that. It didn't really explain it that much, but I'm not really gonna complain about it. But Subaru ends up stabbing him with like with Frederica's crystal, and like it drains him and makes him go back to his regular form basically. And dude, Subaru this episode is savage, dude. Again, I know I've already said it, but he goes up to Garfield and he's like, "Why don't you fight me with your own hands, you coward?" And he just starts baiting Garfield. He's just like, "You need to fight me with your own hands." Again, it doesn't say it specifically, but he's basically calling Garfield a little bitch, and like he's just fueling the fire. And Subaru had a really Chad moment here. Like Garfield just goes up and punches Subaru straight in the face. Subaru doesn't even try to get out of the way. He takes the hit like head on, and it goes right to his face. And like Subaru just like smiles. I'm just like, dude, what a Chad. And he ends up spitting out some of his teeth. I was like, I thought about that when he did. I was like, do they have any type of I don't know if they have dentists in this world. Like, it's just like, but like magic is like, of course, like you can do anything with magic. So I don't know if Subaru's gonna get his teeth back. You don't want to start a redo with like some of your teeth are missing. But I don't know. Maybe they got dentists there in that world, but who knows. So Garfield kind of goes on that he's not gonna fail to protect anyone there again. He has this moment. I don't know why I laughed. But he's like, "I am the wall," and I don't know why, but it sounds like some WWE like wrestling star. But again, like Garfield's pretty like steadfast that he's not gonna give up on this seemingly. And Subaru tries to like Garfield starts giving his speech again. He's gonna protect everyone, and since Subaru just tells him that like he's not backing down on this either, and then Subaru ends up like hitting. This was cool. I did not know this was coming, but I guess it makes sense. But again, I thought it's really cool that Subaru has this. He has the unseen hand, which I think is badass. So like the unseen hand's that like stuff. It's that special ability that like high ranking like witch cult people have. Those hands that go everywhere can basically just like do anything. Basically, they can rip you apart. They're super strong, super fast. Yeah, Subaru has that. It's like Kinda gave it to him, I guess, but it's really cool that he has that now because Subaru, like, he's not like a total like loss. Because like, I mean, again, what's Subaru supposed to do to most people? He doesn't have some special ability. He's not like some 4D chess playing like intellectual wizard. Like he's not like super fast. Like, so it's like there's not much he could do up until he got this. So I'm really glad he got like this type of thing that, you know, where it's like he's not completely reliant on people all the time. And he ends up Subaru channels his inner Leorio from Hunter x Hunter and does like this uppercut and just sends Garfield flying. And Subaru kind of brings up like why, like all the people he's doing it for, like Amelia and like everyone else. But and I'm being completely honest here. I completely forgot about. I'm not even memeing. I completely forgot about Rim. Because he mentioned Rim. He's like, you know, I'm doing this for Rim too. I'm just like, oh yeah, Rim. I'm just like, I forgot about her, like, unironically. Dude, this is my little theory with the Sanctuary arc and like what happened to Rim. I'm pretty sure the author was probably getting pissed that all the people kept shipping Rim with Subaru, and he got just annoyed with all the Rim fans. So he's like, you know what, we need to take Rim out of this for a while, and so that people stop simping for her, and because like Subaru and Amelia is the thing that's happening. And so we're just going to leave her out of this for a while, and we're going to mention her there and there, and then maybe the Rim fan base will just slowly drop off. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of... I just think it's kind of funny. It's just like, it's like you don't... She was like a major character, like a very major character in the first season, and then like she became super popular. I can't tell you how many times, like, of course everyone, like... Again, like, Rim's a good character, okay? I don't want it to sound like I hate Rim or anything. I love Rim. Rim's a great character. I'm just saying, like, I just think it's funny that, like, she's completely... The author just, like, kind of yeeted her out of this entire arc. But he brings up Rim. These all the people he's doing it for. And this part was really fun. They're both, like, on the ground. Like, both Garfield and Subaru are both bloodied. And, like, they're just completely done. And then we see Garfield just getting up, and Subaru's just like, are you kidding me? How tough is this guy? He's like, you know what? Subaru kind of gives a moment where he's like, you know what? Like, I have to admire your strength here. You kind of win. And then out of nowhere, Parstrash, his ground dragon, comes out of nowhere. I thought this scene was kind of funny. He just sends Garfield flying and hits him against a wall. And I was just like, okay, all right, we got John Cena over here. And then Garfield gets it. Like, Subaru's like whole effort here was not wasted. Garfield ends up he understands that he can't, like, he has to like accept that, like, he has to go through change, and that he can't do all this by himself, and there is strength in numbers. So they both pass out, and of course, not surprising, Subaru wakes up on the legendary lap pillow of Amelia, and he gets up and he starts like asking questions. He's like, what happened to Garfield? Like, is he all right? Well, before I even get to that, like, Subaru and Otto kind of have a cool moment where they of course they're great friends. I really like the friendship between those two. And Parstrash kind of like hits Subaru with their tail. And, like, again, remember, Otto can talk to animals, so like Otto can understand what Parstrash is saying. And he's like, and Parstrash is kind of like, you know, giving like Subaru some sass. And then like he goes over and asks like Amelia, he's like, you know what, where is Garfield all right? And Garfield is getting a legendary lap pillow from Ram. I'm just like, you know what, good for both of them. I'm just like, I think there's a thing. I think they have a thing. I think it goes a little bit beyond friendship. So Amelia's like, we don't want to disturb them just yet, because even Amelia thinks they have a thing going on. And this is why I love Ram. Like, Ram's just, like, she's so cold, but, like, she means well. Like, Garfield wakes up and is like, oh, wait, where am I? He's like, Ram. And the Ram just, like, throws him off. She's like, okay, my kindness is done here. And then we get kind of a banner between both of them where, like, she's just like, Garfield, you're stupid. You don't need to think about things because you're never going to arrive at, like, the conclusion. And she just starts giving him stuff. I think I think they have a thing there. Like they know each other from the past. Like it's true, but I kind of interpreted the way that they were talking to each other. There's like she sees potential in him, and it goes a little bit beyond that. I think there's like a bond there that goes a little bit beyond friendship. Even it may be one-sided because I think Garfield does like her. And I wish those two get kind of like had a thing. It's man, like Ram, you gotta get off Roswell, dude. Like that's not someone you're gonna have a healthy relationship with. Like I'm pretty sure she knows like Roswell. Like Subaru told her, like I'm pretty sure she knows at this point that Roswell is kind of a psychopath. So it's just like I don't know. I wish that'd be cool if those two were a thing because they kind of fit. They fit really well together because like they're both like really like upfront and tough about shit. So I think they make like a good kind of pair. I don't want to get too much in the shit. I just think they had like those two had like really good. There's always those characters within a show. It's just like they're so good together and they work so well off each other. It's just like you like seeing them both together. So that's kind of how I feel with Ram and Garfield. So Ram basically tells the Garfield to go take the trial, and this is probably when I actually laughed when this happened. So he gets into the trial room and he sees the moment when his mother is like leaving Frederica and him behind, and his first initial reaction when he sees like, God, I don't even know if this is like the 2-year-old version of himself. He's just like, you piece of shit. And he goes up and tries to punch a baby. I'm just like, yeah, this is Garfield. I laughed at that moment. And then he kind of understands that like their mom wasn't leaving them behind because she thought they were like baggage or anything like that. She was leaving both of them behind because she was going to go try to find their dad. And Frederica kind of explains this to him as well. And the way that it ends, it makes Frederica, but after he sees that vision, it kind of changes the way that he views things, and the younger version of Frederica ends up asking him like, "What do you want to do?" Like, and Garfield gives the answer that like he wants to be useful to those that depend on him. So you see Ram, you see Subaru and Amelia, which I thought was cool. And then the vision ends. So he got over his past. He passed the trial. His first trial, and then he comes out, and then I thought it was adorable. Like the two little Reezers, I'm sorry, they're like little sisters to him, so they're really worried about him. I thought it was kind of cool that kind of adorable that he like pat him on the head because they're kind of like, it looks like they're like little sisters to him, and he cares a lot about them. But the best part, his voice actor did such a good job because he ended up apologizing to Subaru and Amelia, but because he tells them he never would have overcome it without them. But the way that he like apologizes to him, it's like slow and like it's sincere, but just the way the voice actor kind of words it kind of comes off really funny. And Subaru's like, "Is that your version of an apology?" And okay, this kind of like this surprised me. Ram ends up telling Subaru that like to be leaning on him because it was, Garfield's kind of gonna be kind of like a little brother to him. Garfield's only 14. I was like, what? Really? I was like, I thought Garfield was like, honestly, I thought he was like 18, 20. I thought he was around like 20. I mean, I don't know. I was so surprised. I was like, wait, really? Even Subaru was kind of shook too. He's just like, you're an 8th grader. But, it's anime, so, your average, like, middle school, high schooler is like a Chad born who can, like, lift, 5 buildings. So it's not too surprising that Garfield's, like, stupid strong. But I do like the kind of relationship that it kind of sets up, though. I like the banner between, again, I was talking about earlier, like, the characters that Subaru has difficulty with at first, but end up having like a friendship with later. Like it works really, because I think Subaru and Julius are really cool together, and I really like the kind of younger brother kind of aspect that he has with Garfield at this moment too. So I enjoy. He ends up telling like Subaru that he saw him kiss Amelia. So next up, Amelia has to overcome the trial, and then Amelia ends up telling him like after she completes all this, they need to talk about their little moment they had together. And Subaru's like, if you pass it, like we're gonna go on a date, and it's cute. Like let's be honest, it's cute. This part got to me though when Amelia's going in to take the trial. There's just writing all over the wall, and Subaru. When Subaru left her bedside that night, he went to go like write all this stuff on the trial wall, and it was just like it's all these like like chibi like drawings of Puck and like saying like me and Puck support you. Like it's it kind of gets you. It's like, dude, Subaru's a real one. You can't even just like of most. I've seen a lot of shows, like a lot of anime. Like I think Subaru's probably one of my favorite like main characters, like protagonist, like main protagonist in like an anime. There's just something about him. It's just like, I don't know, like he's a very real well written character as a main protagonist. So I thought that was really cool he did that. And so we get to the final scene. It is I'm actually excited to see this. It's in Kinda and it's Amelia, and like of course Kinda's just like making fun of her, like, oh wow, like this guy falls for you because you're pathetic and weak. And the Subaru, like, not Subaru, well, Amelia does a Subaru pose. Like the holding the one finger in the air, like Subaru always does when he's like about to get hype. I'm really excited to see the conversation those two have together. But let's be real, we all know why Kinda's salty. Like, she's still salty that Subaru never took the deal. She's just mad because she didn't get her cheeks clapped by Subaru, and she's still a little salty about that. Let's call it for what it is. Overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. Again, White Fox they've done an exceptional job this last 2 episodes. The voice acting is great. Like, I'm really excited to see where Kinda and Amelia go. I hope they expand on her past more and kind of where she comes from, because I really want to know what like a lot of her like pre-frozen memories are kind of like, because she's gonna have to overcome that, because that's the first trial, is basically overcoming your past. So I'm really excited to see kind of like what some of her old memories are. Not to mention, I've never even really thought about Kinda and Amelia talking to one another. Not to mention, I'm glad to see that Amelia is confident as well. So I can't wait to see the conversation between those two. I'm also really happy to see the Otto and not Otto, but the Garfiel and the Subaru relationship as well, because I do love the banter between those two. What did you guys think of the episode? Are you happy to see that Subaru basically gets a younger brother kind of character? Are you happy about the new Garfield? And what do you think is going to happen? The conversation is going to be between Kinda and Amelia. I think Kinda is going to try to like pull some snake moves, because Kinda is very much a snake. So I think she's going to end up trying to like. I think she's going to try to persuade Amelia to obviously fail the trial and a bunch of other nefarious things. But I can see Amelia getting through it. I think she's confident enough now to where she's not going to have a problem overcoming the trial. So I'm really excited to see definitely a conversation between those two. It's not something I even envisioned happening in the first place, but it makes sense. That's all I got for this episode, guys. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.